A new poll out shows that the vast majority of Americans support a cap on the price of insulin, which really isn't all that surprising, but what may be surprising is that there is actually a provision in the Build Back Better bill that passed the House that limits the cost of insulin. So in this video, I'll go over the insane cost of insulin compared to other countries and compared to how much it costs to make it, and the details of the insulin provision that is in the Build Back Better bill. But first, let me show you here the polling that just came out from Data for Progress here. An overwhelming majority of voters support capping insulin costs at $35 per month. That is the provision in the Build Back Better Act. That includes independents by a plus 76-point margin and Republicans by a plus 71-point margin. And of course, looking closer, Democratic voters as well by a plus 90-point margin support this. So shouldn't be all that surprising that you have the vast majority of voters across all political spectrums supporting a cap on insulin. Of course, diabetes impacts everybody regardless of how you vote. But, I mean, independent and Republican voters should be aware that not a single Republican supports this Build Back Better Act, meaning that they're all against a cap on insulin. Now, to be fair, we'll be lucky if this gets through the Senate with Manchin and Sinema, but understand Manchin and Sinema are the ones that are blocking the ability to pass this sort of provision, and it may still pass, we'll see, but if it doesn't pass, it's because of those specific senators that are against the cap on insulin. But let me get now to, first of all, the debate that's happening right now. So this is an article from Common Dreams. I'll link to it below the video, but here they quote, I think, Ron Wyden and his support to try to get to keep this in the Build Back Better Act. So that fight is going on right now. But let's get to the details around insulin and how this impacts people. So this from Stat, 1/4 of people with diabetes in the US are rationing their insulin. And of course, that leads to people getting sick, people dying, ending up in the hospital. And this is the cost of insulin right now. So this is as of 2020, these prices here, but it is completely insane, especially compared to other countries and to how much it costs to make, as I'll show you in a minute here. But looking at the average price per month, you're looking at an average of around $1,000 per month for people that need insulin. And that doesn't even include the cost of syringes, test strips, and pumps, which also cost even more. Now, this is how much it costs to produce insulin. So a 2018 study estimated that one vial of human insulin costs $228 to $342 to produce, and one vial of analog insulin costs $369 to $616 to produce. The study revealed that a year's supply of human insulin could cost $48 to $71 per patient, and analog insulin could cost $78 to $133 per patient per year. The study measured the manufacturing cost only. It did not include administrative fees, sales, and research and development for improved medications. However, insulin manufacturers have not provided an adequate explanation for this large discrepancy between production cost and retail costs. And I wonder why. Because it is all about the profits. Sure, you can say, well, you know, the research and everything involved there, you need, there needs to be, I guess, a little bit of profit there. Maybe. I guess in this system there needs to be. But for these companies that are producing the insulin that I guess did the research, even though we're talking about, insulin's been around for ages, so I'm not sure how the research really impacts them now. But still, whatever. You say, okay, they need to make a little bit of profit, whatever. But when it costs $228 to $342 to produce, and you're looking at here $1,000 per month, if I can find the table. Here you go. You're looking at $1,000 per month, or per package, 300 here, roughly $300 per package. It is clearly a massive discrepancy that has not been explained because they can't explain it, because it's all about profits for those at the top of these pharmaceutical giants. Now, comparing this to other countries, of course, there is another massive discrepancy. So this data, I believe, is from 2018. But if anything, it's gotten worse. So you see here, the U.S., I mean, do I have to explain this? Average price per standard unit of insulin in selected countries in 2018. The U.S. way out there compared to Japan, Canada, Germany, France, UK, Australia, and Turkey, and I'm sure every other country. It is just completely insane how badly these pharmaceutical giants are ripping off Americans. But understand why they are doing it. Because they're allowed to do it. So in capitalism, if you're allowed to do this, then these companies are going to do what they can to increase profits as much as possible. They're allowed to do this. They're going to do it, which is why there has to be regulation on the ability for these companies to gouge people in pharmaceutical costs. So these are the details of this insulin provision that is in the Build Back Better bill that passed. So this from the Kaiser Family Foundation here. The Build Back Better Act would require insurers, including Medicare Part D plans and private group or individual health plans, to charge patient cost sharing of no more than $35 per month for insulin products. Private group or individual plans would not be required to cover all insulin products, just one of each dosage form, vial, pen, and insulin type, rapid acting, short acting, intermediate acting, and long acting, for no more than $35. So even in this provision, which is still a good provision, they still have to have this compromise here with these wealthy executives at the top of these big pharma companies, showing you there's this constant fight between what is actually good for people and society and the world and what is good for a few rich people at the top of these companies. It really is disgusting. That said, at least they still have to offer at least one product that meets this standard. But the fact that they're still able to gouge people for their other products really is gross. Now, last thing here, I was actually surprised to see this, that Schumer is using this as a weapon here against the GOP, as he should be. So Democrats traditionally are just absolutely terrible at messaging, but this is the way they should be framing this fight. So Chuck Schumer said GOP looks to end a Build Back Better that decreases the cost of insulin for millions of Americans. This is how you relate this to the average person. You have to be very specific about how your life would be improved by the Build Back Better bill and discuss what Republicans are doing by being against it. So by being against the Build Back Better agenda, that means they are for price gouging Americans on insulin. And that is just a fact. Not a single Republican lawmaker supports the Build Back Better bill. So for all the attention we have, on Sinema and Manchin, and they deserve that hate and that attention, we have to also acknowledge that not a single Republican lawmaker supports this Build Back Better agenda, which limits the price on insulin, among other provisions. Now, yes, the bill has been stripped down considerably from where it once was, but still, it's worth passing when you have something like this in there that will definitely benefit people's lives. In addition to still, there's the child tax credit, universal pre-K, and other provisions that will still help people. It's, yes, disappointing that the Build Back Better agenda isn't what it used to be in terms of free college and expansion of Medicare to include dental, vision, and hearing, all three. But regardless, there are still positive provisions in this bill, and it should be passed. And we're going to have to, hope that this insulin provision isn't stripped out of there. With Manchin and Sinema, of course, I'm sure we'll be trying to fight to take it out, but we'll have to see where this all goes.